Hello and welcome back to the Stronghold. It's that time again. It's midweek, and I want you to play some Magic so that you can win 2 rare or better ICRs. This week's midweek Magic event is bringing sort of a new brew to the Arena client altogether. I'm sure everyone has heard about Alchemy. It's the latest, if not greatest thing to come to Arena. And there's quite a bit of buzz about it. And today we are going a little bit out of my planned order to talk about one specific Alchemy deck that I am building for my own collection. And it might be something that's worth considering because it takes one of our new player experience decks and goes together very nicely with 3 of the rares that I was able to open out of my Alchemy packs. And, well, frankly, you get a nice deck that is more than the sum of its parts. So be sure to stay tuned. But before we get into all that, my crack research team has recently pointed out that we are the only channel doing consistent and timely midweek Magic content. And by crack team, of course, I mean one comment from someone who had nothing at all to do with this monkey image. So be sure to subscribe right here at the Planeswalker Stronghold for all of your future midweek Magic needs, because we will be bringing you a deck list or strategy every single week. Now, what were we talking about this week? Oh, yeah, right. Right off the bat, let me just address the fact that because of the nature of timing on midweek Magic, this video is coming to you a little out of order. I am going to be doing a deep dive on an Alchemy deck for today's event that I will touch on briefly on the 15th in a top 5 Alchemy budget decks video. So you're hearing it a little out of order. I intended for you to hear it for the first time on the 15th. But here we go, guys. Let's dive in and take a look at what I am calling Alchemy and Dangerous. Or to put it another way, it is a Boros Warriors and Equipment Matters. And of course, the deck list will be at the end of the video. Let's just take a quick look here. Next up, we have the first deck that I really want to talk about with any seriousness, specifically for the Alchemy format. And it's a little ditty I'm calling Alchemy and Dangerous, because you guessed it, this is pretty much our Armed and Dangerous new player experience deck, but revamped a little bit with its mind on the Alchemy specific format. A lot of the cards that you're going to recognize here, you might want to run Snowlands and run a Faceless Haven if you happen to have it. If you don't, that's okay. The mana base that you've got here is what I've been experimenting with for the most part, and you don't really miss the Faceless Haven. The X-Card Armory is one of those uncommons that you should have at this point. I'm running a single copy just because I like the tutor ability on some of the equipments that are actually in here. And as you can see, there's not a lot of actual physical equipment in this deck. We are running the Dancing Sword, the Maul of the Skyclave, as well as Halavar, and Icing Death, all from our new player experience collection. The reason we're not running quite as many equipments in an equipment deck, and the reasons I am so interested in this particular deck for Alchemy, is when I opened my roughly 30 packs of Alchemy, I got a copy of Expedition Supplier, which basically makes equipments in the form of Utility Knife, as well as the Inquisitor Captain, which allows you to ramp out more creatures. You'll recognize Resolute Strike, Fireblade Charger, Core Blade Master, and Royal Eruption as early drops directly from that Armed and Dangerous deck. One of the additions that I've made here is the Kerrigan Intimidator, well, let's just call it a junk rare. If you have been drafting this set, it is very likely that you have a few copies of this. If you don't have all 4, don't worry about it, because it doesn't this card isn't required for this deck to function, but if you have copies, even 1 will make a difference in this deck. Give it a try. In addition, I am using Daybreak Combatants as a 2/2 hasty warrior that can pump an additional creature, which is just so nice in this particular deck. And I happen to have a few copies of Akiri Fearless Voyager as a 3-drop legendary warrior. I wouldn't run more than 3 here, and this card is not hard to have. Again, it's not exactly a chase rare, so it's not hard to have rare drafted this, as well as it being a focal rare in at least one of the jump in standard list. The War Leader, of course, I believe we got 2 copies in our new player experience, and as a Signpost uncommon, it is not unusual to have been able to draft an additional 2 copies on this to fill out this list. Brunor is definitely from our new player experience list, as well as Lorehold Command. The Akom Warrior is a creature and a land, and possibly a trample finisher, depending upon how your games go. And Amiri Shattered Skyclave is one of those mythics that I think fits very, very nicely into this deck. But if you don't have it, don't worry about it. Just sub something else. So give this deck some thought, depending upon what direction your individual collection has gone. I think this is one of those low-hanging fruit decks that is easy to put together from a budget perspective, depending upon what rares you happen to have.
What's that? You didn't catch all that? Well, Matt would like you to know that any deck list applicable to this video can be found down in the doobly-doo. And hey, let's not forget, the whole reason to participate in these totally free midweek Magic events is the prize support is awesome. You get a rare for your first and second win, and then you get a random cosmetic for your third. How awesome is that? Alright, so with all that having been said, don't forget, smash the like button like Hulk would. And of course, comment and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And one last thing, myself, I'm coming to you from America, and I have noticed that about 1/3 of my viewership is coming from the US, and about 1/3 is coming from various countries. And there's about 1/3 of my viewership that is just getting lumped into other. So to let me know you got to the end of the video, throw me a comment down in there and let me know where you are watching from.